Hello, everyone. This is a brief introduction to week two. And in week two, you're going to be studying two chapters, chapters 3 and 4. Chapter 3 is about culture. And so the focus in this chapter is how culture is essentially like a blueprint for how to live in a society. And if you think about a blueprint, that is something that an architect draws. It's a design for a building, and then the contractors take that design and they create the building. They develop, they build the building. And so for us as humans, when we think about culture as being a blueprint or a design, a map, it's really a map for how to live within a particular society. So it includes norms and values, as well as mores, that's kind of morality, and of course, the importance of culture to us as humans. If we think about it, we don't really need much to live as humans. I mean, in theory, we need food, water, shelter, and clothing. And clothing could even be optional depending upon if you live in a very temperate climate. Maybe you don't need that much clothing. But culture, all the things around us, like books and movies and magazines and the technology we use, the social platforms, all of these other things, we don't really need those things to survive, and yet all human societies have something. Even at the most developmental levels, all societies have dance and music and art, and even some type of literature or some way to pass stories on from one person to another, or from one group to another. We call that the oral tradition. And so clearly, culture is very important to us because we don't need it to survive, and yet every society has created a culture that is unique to it. In chapter 4, you take a look at social interaction and how society, whether we realize it or not, influences the way that we interact with others. And often that is influenced by the social environment that we're in. So if you think about how when you go to work, that's one social environment and you interact with people in one way. And if you're at home, that's another social environment, whether you live with family or roommates. That's a different group of people and a different social environment, and so you interact differently with them. And then when you are with a significant other, or if you have a spouse, etc., that's a different social environment. It's just the two of you. How do you interact with that person, or in the case of polyamory, persons? And if you think about when you go to a class, it's a different sort of interaction if it's a face-to-face class. And so we have all of these different types of social environments that we're part of. And we typically, unless you're a very, very unusual person, we typically are interacting with people in these different environments in different ways. And a lot of that has to do with the status that we have, that is our position within the group, relative to our position, our status within society. And it also has to do with who those other people are and how close to them or maybe not close to them we are. And so chapters 3 and 4 introduce you to some big components of our lives, everyday lives, and those are culture and social interaction. So I hope you enjoy learning about how society and culture influence the way not only that we act with one another, but also to some degree how we think about ourselves and how we think about others. See you next week.